Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimalo here in Abuja. Let's begin tonight by bringing you up to speed with some of the major stories that you perhaps have cited and the ones that you do not know at this hour. In a rare occurrence in the political space, Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, today met with three political figures in the country. He met with the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the presidential candidate of the PDP in Abuja. Mr. Obi, in a statement by his office, also says that he met with former Senate President Bukola Saraki, who's also former governor of Kwara State, and the former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido. He said the discussions were around the plight of Nigerians and the situation of things in the country. All right, then. Without updates, we've got more updates for you, but let me let you know that tonight on the program, we shall be giving you insight into what has happened across the country today. Yesterday, I reported to you right here on the program that NERC and discos will be getting visitors, and that is going to be from the organized labor, and they picketed like they threatened or promised, and we'll be getting reactions and pictures from what happened. Well, of course, we'll be letting you know what the EFCC said, the advisory that had come out that no foreign missions should charge in foreign currency in Nigeria. What are the legal grounds? We'll be letting you in all of those. EFCC will be giving you clarifications on that tonight. And of course, later on the program, I'll be taking you to Ondo. It looks like there's a lot of controversies around the emergence of Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa, the APC governorship candidate in Ondo State ahead of the governorship election, which will happen later this year. And you know what Mr. Jimo Ibrahim, the sitting senator in the state, and one of the aspirants said right here on the program last week, he said that election was a mega fraud. We'll be getting reactions tonight on the program. Sit tight, everyone. Let's begin tonight by serving you with some of your political roundup stories.
The Independent National Electoral Commission is set to commence the continuous voter registration exercise in Edo and Ondo ahead of the governorship elections in the two states later this year. INEC is expected to conduct governorship elections in Edo and Ondo in September and November respectively, and asked that political parties adhere strictly to the May 20th deadline for the nomination of candidates for the November election in Ondo State. Professor Yakubu made the announcement today when he met with political party leaders in Abuja.
The Commission has decided to resume the continuous voter registration in the two states to enable eligible citizens who are not registered as voters to do so.
President Bola Tinubu has called for collective efforts to address the challenge of gender-based violence and gender inequality across African countries. He made the call at the launch of the hashtag We Are Equal campaign at the banquet hall of the State House Abuja, attended by first ladies from various African countries. President Tinubu says his administration is determined to promote the education of the girl child through various programs and policies of government. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in two commissioners from Ogun and Oshu states as members of the National Population Commission. The two commissioners, Honorable Fashiwa Bayomi Johnson from Ogun State and Honorable Tadesi Rahim from Oshu State, were sworn in just before the Federal Executive Council meeting commenced in the council chamber. The Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abdullahi Sabi, has announced plans by the federal government to commence in earnest the implementation of a feed and fodder policy that will help address farmer-herder clashes. The minister, who was speaking with reporters after declaring open a meeting organized by the African Union to grow the sector, explains that the policy will also help the government attain its vision for food security, as well as boost the income of farmers. The faction of the River State House of Assembly, led by Victor Oko-Dumbo, has screened and confirmed a commissioner nominee sent to it by Governor Semilaye Fubara. During the screening, the nominee, Dagogo Iporoma, a senior advocate of Nigeria, pledged to uphold the rule of law and serve the state diligently, despite the ministry will be deployed to.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So let's bring you up to speed with part of the stories there which is making the rounds right now in Rivers politics. Of course, what we have been seeing back and forth in the political field in the state between the Fubara and the Wike end of the aisle in the political crisis. There, of course, the governor has come out to say he will be setting up a panel of inquiry into the governors of Rivers State. We do not know how far-reaching this panel of inquiry will be, whether this is politically targeted or this is a legal or governance-related inquiry to look into the governors of the state. Of course, we do know that is the successor to former Governor Nyesom Wike. Let me allow you to listen to what Governor Siminalayi Fubara said today.
If in 2010 I was a chief accountant level 13, those of you who know the civil service, where will I be before 2023? So when you see people, because you want to impress your paymaster, you talk carelessly. I won't reduce myself to that kind of talk. Yes, I am the only governor in this state that, in the whole federation, where local government chairman will come and abuse. I take it. But I wish them well. I wish them well because even if it's a mistake, by the special grace of God, I'm here today. Yes. God doesn't make mistakes. Not a mistake. And let me also appeal to them. Let them continue to make mistakes.
All right. A heavy response there. And this is being escalating since last week. So we'll see how these progresses in the state. But let us let you know also what happened majorly in the country. And this will have implications and consequence, of course. As far as the plight of Nigerians are concerned, members of the organized labor today made true to their threat as they picketed the offices of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, and distribution companies, DISCOs, premises nationwide over the hike in electricity tariff. The action of the workers follow a joint directive from the leadership of both the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, CUC, the weekend to their members to picket these offices in protest of the tariff. And of course, let's bring you up to speed with what Channels Television has been covering for you. We begin in Akure, the capital of Ondo State. And of course, you can see that they are not left behind with their banners showing the logo insignia of the NLC and that of the TUC members in that state, in Ondo State, trooped out today. And from there, we take you to Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State. And they made true to the promises they made to Nigerians that they will picket the office of DISCOs and NEC, which they did, as you can see right there, some of the pictures coming from our coverage of what is happening across the country. This one from Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State, and there to the very much extreme north in the country, northwest, Sokoto, the capital of Sokoto State, of course. They're not left behind in their agitation that the hike in the electricity tariff is pinching hard, not only in the pockets of the average citizen, but on workers. From there to the south-south region of Port Harcourt, the River State capital. And of course, they're not left behind. Port Harcourt, Delta State, Asaba, the capital. They are all joining their voices to their colleagues across the country. And of course, still in the south-south, Benin City, the Edo State capital, they are also there lending their voice. Of course, leading members of the labor unions in the protest at the headquarters of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, in Abuja, was the NSC president, Mr. Joe Ajero, with the workers asking for an immediate reversal in the hike of the electricity tariff. He says the Nigerians are power poor.
NEC should change their own policy of increasing tariff. Unknown to some of us here, NEC's policy of increasing tariff is based on inflation and the value of the currency. So if NEC, with what they have done now, they have created inflation, they will still go back to increase tariff because of inflation, which they created. Can you see how people are benefiting from their own wickedness?
Right.
So, comrades, we are here to make this statement clear that we are not just saying don't increase tariff, don't increase tariff. You can't increase tariff for nothing. Nigeria should work with the movement, labor movement, to see how we can improve the power being generated today.
And so, they forced the hands of government. At some point, we saw the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Power coming out. Of course, here, we saw the chairman of NEC also responding and said, government, we go back to the drawing board. Let's take a listen to him.
We have listened to you, we have listened to the concern of Nigerians, and we'll make adequate case and representation to the policy side on the issue of affordability of tariffs. The Commission has issued a number of orders on capping estimated bills by all discos, limiting how much they can bill you. But I think on a more on a better news for the Nigerian consumers is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the presidential metering initiative, giving deadlines to meter all customers in Nigeria. Any distribution company that bills you above the caps issued by the Commission, report to our forum offices, report to our office here, and we'll do the needful.
All right. You know, we've been keeping tabs on that here on Channels Television last week, Friday, and of course on Sunday. It was a major conversation right here. We've listened to labor leaders, I've listened to lawyers on the legality and the propriety of the decision of government to hike the price of electricity in the country. Of course, we'll be monitoring that for you. Let's get to one of the major stories that we have also been monitoring for you in the past days. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has read a riot act to foreign missions based in Nigeria, banning them from transacting in foreign currencies and mandating the use of the naira in their financial businesses. The EFCC has also mandated Nigerian foreign missions domiciled abroad to accept naira in their financial businesses. The move, the EFCC noted, is to tackle the dollarization of the Nigerian economy and the degradation of the naira. The Anti-Graft Commission, in an advisory to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, titled the EFCC Advisory to Foreign Missions Against Invoicing in US Dollar, expressed reservation and displeasure regarding the unhealthy practice by some foreign missions to invoice consular services to Nigerians and other foreign nationals in the country in United States dollars. I'm being joined to give us some clarification and insight into the reasons why the EFCC had given this directive and advisory to foreign missions. I'm being joined by the Acting Director of Public Affairs at the EFCC, Mr. Wilson Uwajaren, who joins us virtually from here in Abuja. Thank you so much, Wilson, for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Give us an insight on the reasons why the EFCC made that decision or gave that advisory to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you very much. I think I'll first have to make a little bit of clarification. If you look at the media throughout, I think last week, a number of them reported about the Commission banning foreign missions from transacting in dollars. I think that was not the intent of the communication by the Commission. What the EFCC has done is simply to issue an advisory through the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs to foreign missions operating in Nigeria. And that advisory is based essentially on the Commission's observation regarding transaction, especially consular service transaction by third-party agents operating on behalf of a number of the foreign missions that we have in the country. We felt concerned that some of these third-party agents were invoicing for consular services in dollar, which to us is against the laws that we have in this country. Because if you recall, the CBN Act, Section 20, subsection 1 of that Act, states that the naira is the only legal tender in Nigeria, which presupposes that that is the only currency that is acceptable for transactions anywhere across the country. But we find a situation where third-party agents working for missions circumvent that regulation by invoicing in dollars. Beyond that, a number of them also went to the extreme of determining the exchange value of naira in their transaction. That for us was worrisome. And so we had to bring the development to the knowledge of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, because we believe that that is the organ of government that has the responsibility, that knows the protocol, that has the channel of communication to bring this observation to the attention of the foreign missions and advise them to ensure that their operations do not conflict with extant laws and regulations that we have in the country. So essentially, that was what we did.
Section 20, subsection 1 of the CBN Act is very clear on the legal tender and what is appropriate to be used for transactions in Nigeria. But there are those who will say, and on this program we've had conversation, in fact, it does look like you guys need to make Femi Falana an ambassador of the EFCC, because he's been screaming about this, and he said it so many times on this program, and I've had to engage him on the danger of transactions in dollars or in foreign currency on Nigerian soil. There are those who will say that it is not only the foreign missions or their agents who are contravening the Nigerian laws. There are schools, hotels, hospitals that are charging in foreign currencies in Nigeria, an aberration, things that will not happen on their own soil. But the question here will be, arising from what the EFCC advisory has been, that those who will say, what is the appropriateness of this directive that you have issued to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, given that these missions are sovereign entities under the international law within their territory or within their premises? It does look like they're on their own soil.
Absolutely, I agree with you. The EFCC does not have the power to direct foreign missions on how to conduct their financials within their premises, because by law, international law, they are supposed to be sovereign within their own premises and how they run their affairs. That is the reason why we went through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ours is simply an advisory that we routed through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It is not within the remit of the EFCC. It's not our duty to direct foreign missions or tell them what to do in terms of their financials. But we observe a situation. We observe that transactions were not in line. I actually made mention of the issue of third-party agents. That is, agents contracted by foreign missions to handle consular services for them. Those are the people who are invoicing in dollars. And we have to bring that to the attention of the foreign missions through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. EFCC does not relate directly with foreign missions because that is not our duty. The Foreign Affairs Ministry is the appropriate organ of government that has direct relationship with foreign missions operating in the country. And our advisory to the foreign missions is through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And we have to make this clarification because people have had that wrong notion that the EFCC is dishing orders to foreign missions operating in Nigeria. That is not our intention. And those who are familiar with the way EFCC works know that we know that foreign missions in this country enjoy diplomatic immunity. The convention governing foreign relations is very clear, and we are not about to violate that, which was why we actually sent that advisory through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But we're also concerned about other organs, not foreign missions now, who are invoicing in dollars, and the Commission will not spare anybody who violates laws that have been promulgated to govern such activities within the borders of Nigeria.
Yeah. Let's be clear to ourselves. With the advisory that you have given, and it's just like you are putting a spotlight on it, it has been infractions and it's been criminal activities that have been going on. That is a fact under the law, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
With this advisory, Wilson, you have sounded alarm. Will EFCC then now start going after all of those who now are still going ahead in charging Nigerians or transacting in dollars? These third-party agents that you're talking about, are you going after them?
Well, the notice is out there, so they are no longer going to claim to be ignorance of the law. We are bringing the law to the notice of those who think that they don't, who believe that there are no laws governing such operations. So if before they felt the law does not exist, now they know. If before they believed that there was no offense committed, now they know that if you transact, if you invoice in dollar, it's against the law. And the commission will spare no one who violates the law.
So the question, So one of the questions I would like to ask you is also the issue of diplomatic immunity. Even if these affect those who carry diplomatic immunity, I'm guessing that the EFCC will stop at nothing in bringing anyone on Nigerian soil who violates that extant law, Section 20, subsection 1 of the CBN Act. Is that right, Wilson?
That is the essence of the advisory. I believe that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will transmit that communication to foreign missions in the country. And there are channels through which all those diplomatic issues are sorted out. The Commission will explore all those channels to ensure that those who are carrying out businesses, whether they are foreign missions and corporate entities within Nigeria, observe our laws and ensure that their operations do not conflict with extant laws and regulations in the country.
Let me ask you, can the EFCC ban foreign missions from transacting in dollars? Does the EFCC have the powers?
Like I said earlier, they have immunity, diplomatic immunity in certain respect. There are certain of the activities that the Commission cannot regulate. But where those activities relate to third-party agents, the immunity that missions enjoy cannot also extend to third-party agents that are engaged by them to conduct operations on their behalf. So those third-party agents are subject to the laws of Nigeria, and they are not supposed to violate any of those laws.
So, but I mean, there are those who will say maybe EFCC is cherry-picking, and there are those who have been agitating about this issue, and will be glad that EFCC is sounding an alarm over these issues. And the question will be, you also raised an alarm about those who are charging for school fees in dollars. Is the EFCC doing anything about this? Not to talk of going after foreign missions.
We are absolutely not cherry-picking. Some of these practices have been ongoing for a number of years now, but people just overlook them. But we are bringing it to public consciousness that it's not going to be business as usual any longer. The advisory to foreign missions through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was just to raise the alarm. That does not mean that other corporate entities who are engaged in similar practices will be spared. No, we have started the enforcement, and you can recall that recently when a charge was filed against a former governor, issues of invoicing in Naira was part of that charge, which suggests that we are doing more than people probably think in enforcing the laws that prevent dollarization of transactions within the Nigerian public space.
In Abuja here, Mr. Wajare, maybe you have to do an undercover agent's work. If you go around, you will discover that there are a lot of outlets that are charging in dollars. Even at our airports, they charge in dollars in some transactions. They label goods and services in dollars under the EFCC's noses. And the question will be, is EFCC going to be worth the words that come out of that agencies in terms of what they say they will do? And in fact, for those who have said EFCC should do this in the past, how much of effort will the EFCC be putting? Should we be expecting, just like the energy EFCC put up chasing after those who are spraying Naira in indiscriminate manner?
The ship has already left the train station. We have started a movement, and we are not going to relent. the advice I would have for Nigerians is wherever you see this kind of development happening, you have the onus on you to alert the EFCC. We can't be everywhere, but I can assure you that once we have the evidence that people are violating the law, the EFCC, under the leadership of Ola Olukoyede, will not spare anybody. The movement has started and we will not rest.
I wish you the very best at the EFCC. Thank you so much, Wilson Huajaren, who is the Acting Director of Public Affairs at the Economic Financial Crimes Commission. Thank you so much for the clarifications, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you. I'm delighted.
I hope that you don't cross the diplomatic landmines that wouldn't cause a third world war.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Wilson. We'll take a break, everyone. But when we come back, we'll be talking politics, and I'll take you to the region of the country, the southwest region, in Ondo specifically. The APC governorship primary there has been causing a lot of ripples. The controversy is that we will be hearing tonight from a chieftain of the APC on the reactions from Senator Jima Ibrahim, who says the APC primary was a mega fraud. That was the primary which saw the emergence of the incumbent Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa as the APC governorship candidate. We'll be right back, everyone, after this break. So much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get into the politics, especially the internal wranglings in the APC, especially the fallout of the Ondo governorship APC primaries. Of course, you know what happened. One of the aspirants there, Senator Jima Ibrahim, is not happy. First and foremost, he sounded the alarm and he says he's aggrieved. Take a listen to, or let me remind you of what he said in the National Assembly. He described that process as a mega fraud. Take a listen to him.
What the party consensus says that it exhausts the internal machineries before filing in court. We had an appeal. Appeal was dismissed by the party. We wrote a letter to NWC of the party. That's the last organ of the party. So they still went ahead and give certificate of return after the letter. So now we're in court. You can now be talking about party affairs. We are going beyond that. What we are in is threatening internal democracy. It's not, and in fact, our prayer is that conduct a new primary or delete APC from participating in 2024 November election in Ondo. And of course, in several cases, you are aware of Safara, Taraba, Jigawa. There are cases where Supreme Court have delisted a political party for participating in the May election if you cannot conduct your own primary very well.
All right, let's get some insight on this, of course. We've not been hearing so much from Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who is the beneficiary of that primary, which Mr. Jima Ibrahim says is a mega fraud. He's gone to court. There is a court order. Of course, Senator Ibrahim was here last week on this program where he explained what he described as a fraud. A major task before Mr. Ibrahim is to see that the APC is delisted and to prove the fact that that primary did not really hold. Let's speak to one of the chieftains of the APC. I'm being joined by Dr. Akinola Awodeyi Akinshayiwa. He joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much indeed, Doc, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
Your brother there, Senator Jima Ibrahim, said that primary was a mega fraud.
Well, that is an infra-dignitary term. And why I said it's an infra-dignitary term is that he is a member of the party, and if you can come out to make such a statement, it belittles his status. There are ways in which you can make representations, and people are expecting so much from him because he's a representative of the party from the state. And I won't crucify him for that too, because some things that you are not clear to you, there's a tendency for you to make some blunders. Let me pardon him for that. He's a great guy, brilliant, that I respect him. But I don't know where he got his mega fraud from, because the primary was conducted. I participated in the sense that I voted from my own ward, and we witnessed the collations from my side, from my local government, and even at the final, whereby all the elections were collated. I took it to the collation center. It was counted. I mean, the people were counted and the numbers were recorded. because it was a direct primary. And one thing that my brother is missing is this. I think I will advise him. I'm happy he has spent, he said he has a 37 years experience as a lawyer. I gave him that kudos. But he should go back and read the constitution of APC very well. It is very clear. 3 ways in which a candidate can emerge in the party. Number 1, consensus. 2, direct. 3, indirect. What we had, the last one was direct primary. And direct primary, there are 4 stages. Because I listened to him even before the primary. When he was talking about delegates, he has 30 delegates this, he has 30 delegates that. I laughed. I said, this man has goofed. Even during the primary, before the primary, he said, as claimed by him, that he has paid for 100 members. By the time you look at the 100 members, you divide it by 2,500, you are getting about 40,000 votes. That is, if those 40,000 votes are even existing. Why I said they are there? Because at the election day, some of them are not even show up. Some of them are even collect your money just for the purpose of collecting your money. Not everybody that you see following you every day, that they are even your real supporters. Some want to make money from you. So all these things my brother could have taken into consideration before coming to say.
So let me ask you, Dr. Akin,
Yes.
You are in one place.
Absolutely.
But he, as a candidate in that election, he had agents. So he's perhaps more privy to, than you in terms of the information that he will get into those agents that he has paid to do the job. He has said there are a lot of fraud that has happened and different layers. First and foremost, he said he spent about 100 million naira trying to do verification of the delegates who are the natural members of the party across the world in the state. And he says that across the over 300 wards, there are almost over 200 and something that election did not hold at all. But you provided us with some footage, which are amateur footage that are being taken by members of your party to show that really elections held. Perhaps, let me just allow our viewers to listen to some of the natural sound coming from those
Nil, 0. This is to certify that either you are lucky, Remison, having scored the highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared winner for the vote for Ilerigi.
Either you are lucky, scored 106. Olushola Oke, 30. Akinteni Wawale, 28.
These are some of the amateur videos that are being sent in. But does this also affirm in any way that elections held in those areas where Senator Ibrahim is claiming that this election did not hold?
From, even though I don't have his documents of what I said he has presented in court, why I was not more worried about that is, one, even at Igbotako, where he comes from, election was postponed because of him. Because when they claimed that there was, there was a disagreement there, people were fighting, the electoral committee, according to what I heard, they have to postpone the election to the second day. And you see, listening to him one time, he said that he didn't see the ballot, he was not at the polling unit. He didn't see the ballot boxes. I said again, my brother should go and look at, read the constitution of APC, direct primary. You line up at your ward, and you are going to be counted, not through where you are going to thumbprint. You should understand that there's a difference between direct and indirect. Indirect, you are to thumbprint, they will count, they will look about this one, you stand, you have a line.
Dr. Akinshayo, I asked you about the list of the verified list of the party, which he claimed that the party could not present.
Maybe to him, at where I voted, the list of, well, my number was number 62 at the voting list. So I don't know where Kanusi get his own. My number was 62 on that list.
Did the party change? Did you see the notice of the party changing the location of the collation. Did you see the letter?
I'm not aware of that.
Oh, you didn't see that communication?
I don't see that communication.
By the committee of led by Governor Ododo, transmitting to INEC that they will change the location of the collation center, which is in contravention of the guideline for the election.
I don't see that letter. What I don't see, what I don't know, I won't come and claim that I know about it. But what I know was that at the stakeholders meeting, there are some discussions. And this is not the first time. At every stakeholders meeting, let me cite 2020, where I participated. At the college, at the stakeholders meeting was when Yaya Bello changed indirect, changed direct primary to direct primary. Heaven did not fall. We still went for it. I asked Yaya Bello that very day. I said, my friend, why are you changing this game at the middle of the game? Because this is 2 a.m. and we're supposed to have election by 7 a.m. in the morning.
Ododo, you meant?
No, I'm talking of 2020.
And 2020.
Yes. Okay. Now, I asked him, I said, my brother, why are you changing at this middle of the night? That's 2 a.m. at the stakeholders meeting. But because we are party men, Akere Lolu may so continue to rest in perfect peace. He came to us and apologized after having been declared as the winner. But because we believe in our party, we don't need to win, we don't need to sing the party because we didn't win the election. We all work for him and he won the general elections.
But did you see some of the announcement there in an office? And those who are asking, how can announcement or word announcement result be happening in an office?
See, probably that very day, it was raining, even at Owo. It rained at Owo. So some of us, we have to enter the classroom. You understand me now? And the police guard, they were all there. It's like it's raining Owo.
Okay, if you are defending the last you about this,
yes.
How do you defend the materials for the conduct of the exercise?
What are the materials?
That are not made transparent for all of the aspirants.
My brother, even at Owo, I will continue to use it because that is where I voted. At Owo, they show when the electoral officers came, they brought out the papers and they said, where are the agents of all some of these aspirants? At least at Owo, I can talk about the agent of the Loki Aidatiwa, General Oyeye, Wale Akitenwa, and about few of it's only Jimo Ibrahim that his agents were not even there. So if you claim that he has agents all over, I doubt it.
Part of what Senator Jimo Ibrahim is claiming, he's claiming that there was no election in 203 words. He says that the report is based on INEC report of the monitoring exercise. He said, the collation center was under lock and key and it was changed. He said there are no election in over 70% of the wards in Ondo State, 149 out of 203. He also claimed that there was no Congress election, which is supposed to determine the delegates. And according to him, he also said he could not vote in his own election. No single ballot paper was printed. He said Governor Usman Ododo wrote the INEC on the 28th of April to request for change of collation center. He said the new collation center was not communicated to aspirants, neither did INEC confirm the new venue of the location center. These are the list of infractions as presented or as espoused by Senator Jimo Ibrahim.
I insist that there is no document, what he's asking for, the materials, election materials he's asking for. I will continue to refer him to the APC constitution on direct primary. There is no document for you to thumbprint anything.
So under the law, Senator Jimo Ibrahim is wrong. By thinking that there need to be election materials.
But he has already gone to court.
But what about resource sheets?
The resource sheet came.
Are they not part of election materials?
Well, that should be the part of it. If it is what I'm talking about, the election material that is emphasizing on, because I listened to his comment that you have to thumbprint. I'm still telling him that there's not like thumbprinting in direct primary.
Your party opted for an option A4. Yes. Option A4, is being used at some point in this country, yes. I think in the Third Republic,
yes.
Where you will have people queue up at the back of the agents of the aspirant they wish to vote for, and they will be counted one after the other. But at the end of the day, the result will have to be entered into a resource sheet at that particular ward or particular location. Did that happen?
That was what happened. This one I can tell you 100%. Because even they pasted the posters of each of the candidates on the walls so that you can even know them.
Are you aware that in almost 103 locations specified by the party, election did not take place?
That is another lie. And let me quickly tell you something. Even after the collation, after the counting, before the final ratification, they still went to the electoral college. That is where the ratification came up. And each of those ratifications, 5 per delegate from each ward of 2 or 3 wards, they came to ratify the result before they pronounce Honorable Loki Aiyedatiwa as the what they call him, the winner of the election. Right. It was done. It was on TV, so everywhere.
Let's take a breather.
Yes, sir.
But when we come back, we'll get more insight. The danger of this is that if the prayers of Senator Jimoh Ibrahim is answered by the court, it means one thing, that the disaster the APC experienced in Bayelsa State, in Zamfara State, in Rivers State, in the past, might befall that party once again. He's saying, release the APC from participating in the November election. Well, will that happen or not? We'll find out after this break, everyone. Join us again. Let's get back to the conversation. Of course, for some of you who did not listen or who was not aware of the interview with Senator Jimoh Ibrahim, let me remind you of some of the things he said right here in that same chair that Dr. Awode Akin-Sheyiwa was sitting, or is sitting. Take a listen to a portion of the interview I had with Senator Jimoh Ibrahim.
You know what the party constitution says, that it exhausts the internal machineries before filing in court. We had an appeal. In Ondo East, the collation center was under lock and key, right? In Okitupa, election in 3 wards out of 13 wards. Now in Odigbo, the collation center was under lock and key. These are not my words, right? These are words lifted from the report. If you give me 1 second. Now, we did a table. We put 1 to 203. We now say name of local government and the ward under the local government. What INEC says. In 149 of those wards, INEC used the word no election. Ward by
out of the 203.
Out of 203. That is over 70% of the wards in those states. 149 out of 203. It's significantly massive fraud.
But
so,
you heard him there. That's Senator Jimoh Ibrahim there, right here on this program a few days ago. Dr. Akin-Sheyiwa, yes, how do you react to what he said?
Well, like I wanted to tell him, I think it's mixing things. Atukipa that is talking about. The 2 returning officers, they sign all the documents, because each of those wards, they have returning officers that will sign all the documents. If his own people were not there to verify or to see what they are doing, it should be his own problem. Even at his own, ask him, the question people refuse to ask him is that, or probably forget to ask him is that, even when the election was postponed in his own local government, in his own place at Yogotako, what stopped him the second to go and vote? He said he was looking for a polling unit. It shows that he doesn't even know what he's talking about. That's why I said it's mixing direct and indirect. It's an indirect that we're looking for a polling unit. Direct primary, you go to where you're supposed to line up and line up like others. And before that one can be done, there's going to be verification. Even at that voting center, you show your membership card for revalidation at that center before you can be counted.
Why?
So where was he?
Why has Governor Loki Aiyedatiwa not able to respond to some of these issues? He's the beneficiary of that election, the primary. That Senator Ibrahim said was a mega fraud.
Well, you see, Governor Loki Aiyedatiwa, I'm not going to go hold forth for him. But one thing I know about this guy, or this man, is that, one, he's not somebody that talks too much. And he believes that the necessary had been done. And he has tried as much as possible to go and visit even Jimoh to beg him, to appeal to him, don't let us continue to fight on this matter. You are my brother. Let us sit down and discuss. At least out of 14 or 16 of them that contested, almost about 14 of them, they're already with Loki Aiyedatiwa. I can tell you that one for free.
What about Olushola Oke?
Olushola is his senior brother. He has no place to go. It's his senior brother. He must welcome his junior brother. They are from the same family, same lineage. They are both prince in their Atugbo.
But from what I'm hearing,
yeah,
Olushola is still very much aggrieved.
He has to be aggrieved. Everybody will be aggrieved. I was aggrieved in 2020. I was aggrieved in 2026. I never died. That's the decision of the party.
But are you claiming that Jimoh Ibrahim has refused to see Lucky Aiyedatiwa?
Well, I talked. Probably I was told that he saw him briefly one time, maybe in one of the meetings, and later he refused to see him again. You understand me now? See, this is a party matter. Why do you want to? You are already a sitting senator. Must you sing the party? No. What of the people? You came to the party not up to 9 months. You got the Senate ticket through the late governor, and was your own election free and fair? No.
What happened to his election?
You asked himself. It was manipulated for him. So what is he talking about? Let him come out and tell me this, because he said he's PhD holder in war. You should know that there's a PhD holder in strategy planning and defense. Here we are. So if you are talking about 2020, you are talking about this one is fraud, that one is fraud. What happened to you when you are in PDP? Fraud. When you are ANPP, fraud. Everywhere, fraud. Are you the only person that is a saint? We should check ourselves. So I respect him. I love him. I mean, it's somebody that he has fought. He has labored to the point of honor. I gave it to him. But when you get to a stage in life, there are things you just remove your hand.
But are you worried about the danger of pursuing a legal war in this sense? You know what Jimoh Ibrahim could be up to. You know what happened to in the 2020 that you are talking about. Yeah, if you ask the eventual candidate of the PDP at that time, he will tell you the implication of a legal battle towards election. Are you worried about the danger of that?
I could have been worried, because if he has understand the technicalities of this election, but because he believed that he is the only person that has the monopoly of wisdom. Law is not static. Law is broad. Law is dynamic. You might say that use one system in 2016 or 2020 to deal with your opponent. It might not be able to work in 20.
So you on the side of Lucky are ready for battle against Jimoh?
We're not going to. He's a member of our party. The only thing I can appeal to him is that he should see this thing as a football. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Akinola Awodeyi Akinshenwa, a chieftain of the APC in Ondo, said, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
I appreciate it.
And I wish you and your party the very best.
Thank you very much.
All right, then let's tell you about a very bold decision of President Bola Tinubu today. Is giving a directive, and he said that going forward, all government vehicle purchases and procurement has to be CNG vehicles. Now, all government officials in the MDAs, agencies, parastatals, and the ministries must now use CNG vehicles as part of his government's decision and policy on CNG or alternative energy vehicles. Thank you so much, everyone. That's how we draw the curtains on the program tonight. I'm Sean Wakimale. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. God bless Nigeria.